Now, I warned you guys, man, that since Trump did not hit a wall of resistance when he did the regime change in Venezuela, I warned you there are devastating consequences associated with that. Because now he's high on his own supply. Now he feels invincible. Now he feels like, well, I could just do whatever I want to whoever I want, wherever I want, and I'm going to get away with it, right? So there was no immediate impeachment. There was no talk of making the cabinet do the 25th Amendment. There was no, just colossal backlash, the likes of which are a real slap in the face. And so now their war boner is out of control. MAGA's war boner is just, I have no words for it. Like, this is just, it's literally like all of these MAGA freaks can only orgasm when they're committing war crimes. So they need to commit a war crime like every day. That's what this looks like. So let's start with this here. Lindsey Graham, who, by the way, was, this is so ominous and creepy. He was on the plane with Trump after Trump did the regime change in Venezuela, and Trump was casually talking about, we're going to do Cuba next, we're going to do Colombia next. Lindsey Graham is standing there like a little fucking gremlin, smiling from ear to ear. I've never seen him that happy before, other than when he goes to rentboy.com and has some young piece of ass with him, right? Insane. So here is Lindsey Graham. He tweets, more to come. And he's quote tweeting a Ted Cruz thing here that says spectacular. And they're posting this AI slop to try to justify and rationalize Trump's warmongering. So I'll explain this to you because I can't play there's music in the background. It says Trump's Venezuela magic. And you see in the audience, President Xi, Modi, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un. So you got all these world leaders in the audience and like an auditorium. Trump basically is doing this magic trick with like a blanket. He puts it over a chair. You see Erdogan, you see all these different world leaders. Trump removes the blanket from the chair, the sheet from the chair, and there's Maduro sitting there, in the same stuff he was wearing when he was captured, right? And so it's like, you see all the more authoritarian leaders, or at least according to the right-wingers, the leaders they don't like, you see them sitting there looking concerned, and then you see a bunch of other leaders clapping, like, oh, isn't this wonderful? This is great. Look at what he did. And Trump gives the thumbs up at the end as Maduro's giving the thumbs up. So Trump's Venezuela magic. Look, he did it. Illegal war, regime change, kidnapping, abducting, stealing the oil. Look at this guy. He can't miss. This is the mindset, right? This is the mindset. So here we go. Graham comes out. This is on the plane like I was just describing. Listen to what he says here about what comes next.
And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
That sounded better in the original German. Ich den van schlagen, nagen, Puten. Like that, this is what, you just wait for Cuba, their days are numbered. So clearly Trump did this, was very happy with the results, and then all the fucking neocon warmongers around him go, yes, sire, more, we should do more, you can't miss, sire. That's what's happening here. All right, Senator Lindsey Graham goes on Fox News and puts on a Make Iran Great Again hat. He can't even limit his warmongering to one country at a time. Now he's like, we're going to take out Cuba and Iran at the same time. Oh my God. I'm going to get 2 boys from rentboy.com tonight. Here we go.
I pray and hope that 2026 will be the year that we make Iran great again.
Jesus Christ. Now, if you say, well, this is just Lindsey and he's being a rogue and he's always been a warmonger, so it is what it is. There's been no indication from Trump that that's going to happen again. Well, I reported to you guys the other day that Netanyahu, in his trip to the U.S., he made the case to Trump, we have to finish the job in Iran. We have to take out the regime. That's what all the reporting said. And then now, what's Trump doing? Look at this. Lindsey Graham and Trump smiling on Air Force One. Trump just signed the Make Iran Great Again hat. Now, by the way, when Netanyahu says to Trump, we got to finish the job here, that's not really a suggestion, nor is it a question. Remember, they have blackmail material on the president. The president was caught red-handed He can be coerced. He can be extorted. We know there are Epstein tapes of him with underage girls. That's a fact. Who has them? Mossad has them. That means Netanyahu has them. That means he can blackmail the president into doing what he wants. He's already done literally anything and everything Israel wants. Why would he stop now? Right? So it's not even really a suggestion. And now Trump feels like, well, what I did in Venezuela worked. So why wouldn't I also take out Iran? Maybe that'll be easy peasy too. Why wouldn't I take out Cuba? Maybe that'll be easy peasy too. All right, how about this? BBC breaking news. U.S. discussing a range of options to acquire Greenland, including the use of the military. Look, I warned you. I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard here. I was screaming at the top of my lungs during the election that this guy is perhaps the biggest warmonger we've ever seen in the White House, which sounded hyperbolic, but of course it wasn't. If you were familiar with Trump's record in his first term, you would know, oh, he might half the time market himself like he's a peacenik and he's anti-war, but his actual policies have always been of a warmongering nature. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And now, oh my God, he's injected it with steroids and human growth hormone. And the reason is, when his approval rating here at home is down to 36%, and he's clearly just an insane authoritarian, what do they do when they're backed into a corner? What do? They lash out. What's his way of lashing out? Well, if I get some foreign policy victories, then my numbers will go back up. In fact, he literally said this about Barack Obama a number of times. Watch out, Obama's numbers are going down. He might take out Iran. He used to say this all the time. There's so many tweets of him saying, look out, his numbers are low. Maybe he'll start a war, make him go back up. This is how he thinks. Trump is so stupid, though, he thinks the rally around the flag effect is a natural thing that occurs when there's a war. No, you idiot. You need fucking propaganda. You need endless propaganda to build up war fever to make people think we have no choice, we have to do it. But he didn't do any of that. He skipped right to, I took out somebody, right? Of course people are not going to be in favor of that, and they're not. This is the moment where the Venezuela action is going to be the most popular it will ever be, and it's double digits underwater already. So, but take a look at this. So now we have Greenland and Cuba and Iran. It's all on the table, and they're talking about it right this second. So if you're keeping track, in just this second term, what do we have? Trump murdering over 100 fishermen, bombing over 30 boats. These are fishermen from Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, and Colombia. He just did illegal regime change in Venezuela. He bombed Yemen and Somalia and Nigeria and Iran. He's threatening Greenland, Panama, Canada, Cuba, and Mexico. I didn't even mention Mexico, but they're also on the short list. Trump just told his team, show me a bunch of plans, a bunch of options for bombing the cartels in Mexico. This is all on the table now, and this is all something that they're thinking of doing now. He talked about reinvading Afghanistan to take back Bagram Air Base. That's what he did. Never mind the fake peace deal in Gaza, which then gave Israel cover to continue doing the genocide, which is exactly what that was. It was nothing but a big trick. Israel has violated that peace agreement every single day. Trump says he stopped 8 wars. He literally stopped 0. In fact, if you count all of what he's doing as wars, he started 8 wars, okay? That's where we're at. So it is just astonishing, man. It is just astonishing. And this is what happens when you have an authoritarian, his poll numbers are down at home, and he's not hitting the wall of resistance that he needs to hit. Again, they're not immediately moving on impeachment. Nobody's being pressured to do the 25th Amendment. There's not 2 million people in the streets in Washington, D.C. The media, don't even get me started on the media. We could do a separate segment on that, but the media is just fucking pathetic. Pathetic. It's like a both sides, false equivalence, he said, she said, fucking ridiculous normal way of covering this when we're totally in unprecedented, insane times, right? They're not even bothering to lie to you about, this is about freedom, this is about democracy, this is about liberty, because we're the good guys and we believe in the Enlightenment values and this guy's hard. They're not even bothering to lie to you. He keeps blurting, it's the oil, we're going to take the oil for the oil company. What? And so this is where we are. And we need to create that wall of resistance so that he knows. No, there are actual consequences for this. So, unfortunately, I feel like it's an episode of The Twilight Zone, and we're the fucking last people in the country that have functioning brains. We're like, how is this acceptable? How is this okay? How is this not everybody fucking losing it? And don't even get me started on the precedent that this sets for the future. That's the other thing that these people are too short-sighted and too idiotic and too myopic and narcissistic to ever realize, is that, okay, you just set the new rules of the game. Well, the rules of the game are going to come back to bite you in the ass. There's going to come a time where the U.S. is not the most powerful country anymore, whether it be economically, which we're already probably not, or militarily. There's going to come a time where we're not the top one anymore, and we're bleeding allies like nobody's business. We're hemorrhaging allies. And so what happens at that moment? Well, guess what? You just laid the groundwork to say, whoever, China, you're the next superpower. You got to do whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to explain yourself. It's might makes right. It's law of the jungle. So who do we appeal to in a scenario like that? It's almost like there's even a self-interested reason to abide by international law. But no, that's not how they look at it. And meanwhile, this motherfucker doesn't have to deal with any of the consequences of what he's doing. He's making billions of dollars, and then he's going to die within the decade, and his shitty fucking kids will have more money than God, right? And the rest of us have to deal with the consequences of all of his nonsense, all of his wars, all of his fucking ecological destruction and climate change getting worse, all of his corruption, a fucking broken system where none of our institutions function correctly anymore because they destroyed them on purpose. We have to deal with the fallout. His ass won't even be here. So there we go. There we go. I've never seen a war boner this raging. It's like they took war Viagra and they're overdosing on it. That's what's happening.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.